All right, this video I'm going to be focusing on another way to do a variation problem. This is my second video, finding an equation of a variation. So this one's going to be a little bit more complex, but you'll find a lot of the routine is the same as the first one. So if p varies directly as the square of q and inversely as the square root of r, with p equals 60, q equals 6, and r equals 81, find the equation of variation. So there's a lot of steps here. The goal here is to find the equation of variation. So I want everything put together with my constant of variation, that's a, figured out. So let's start back at the beginning. P varies directly as the square root of q. So if I have p, if I'm varying directly, let's think back those equations. Direct variation is going to be like y equals a times x. So you have your constant of variation times whatever variable. Inverse variation is y equals a divided by x. So when you think direct variation, we're going to be multiplying. Inverse variation, we're going to be dividing. Notice how both of them have an a involved. So when we're dealing with variation, we need that constant of variation. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there, my a. So p varies directly as the square of q. So I need to multiply by the square of q. So that is going to be q squared. And inversely, so I should be thinking, all right, and divide by the square root of r. So I'm going to take that entire expression, divide by the square root of r. So I've set up kind of a preliminary equation of variation here. The goal is to have a complete equation of variation. I need to know what a is. That is my goal. But to get there, I'm going to need some help. So, as we read on, they tell us with p is equal to 60, so I'm going to plug that in. Q is 6, so I still don't know a, but q is 6, so I have a 6 squared there. And r is 81. So I plugged in all the information I know, 60, 6, and 81. So I need to clean this up and solve for a. So some pieces I can deal with on the right side is 6 squared is 36, so I have a times 36. Square root of 81 is 9. So I need to solve this equation for a. So then I can figure out a and put this all together. So if I'm going to solve this for a, I want to get a by itself. So right now I have a times 36 divided by 9. So I'll work on this 9 first. To get rid of a division by 9, I'm going to multiply both sides by 9. If I do that, 9 times 60, that is 540, is equal to, and I just have, because those 9s are inverses, a times 36. So I have 540 equals a times 36. So continuing to solve there, if I want to get rid of a multiplication by 36, I'm going to divide by 36 to both sides. And when I do that, I'll come back up here, I get a is 15. So to find my equation of variation, I need to put this entire piece together, but just plug in my constant of variation, a. So I'm going to have p equals 15 times q squared divided by the square root of r. So all I did is I plugged in my a into that equation. This is my equation of variation. Now the second part of this problem says, all right, now find p when q equals 8 and r equals 144. So I'm using this. They want me to figure out what p is, which is right there, but they give me information. They tell me, hey, q is 8, r is 144. So typically when we get information, let's plug it in and see what it gives us. So I'm still going to have p equals 15 times, and plug in for q, I have 8 squared divided by the square root of 144. So to clean that up a little bit, p equals 15 times, well, 8 squared is 64. Square root of 144 is 12. So I have 15 times 64 divided by 12. And that's something you could type in your calculator. I would type in 15 times 64, hit enter, divide by 12, hit enter, and when you do that, you're going to get 80. So P is 80. That is finding an equation of variation 2, a little bit more complex, but the same kind of theme as my first video. Write your general equation, figure out A, plug in A. So general equation, don't know A, plug in your information, solve for A. Once you know A, rewrite the equation with A involved. After that, plug in the information you do have and solve for the variable you don't know. So we plugged it in, we got P is 80. And that is finding an equation of variation 2.